You're complaining about your hard life, and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
It's ridiculous.
Here's an email that I've been keeping for you.
I have full body chills right now.
This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on. Thank you.
Dan, when you do interviews on your show, do you do the Jamie Kern Lima reactions? Yes. Oh my God, there's something wrong with her.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful.
No.
What do you think of them?
They're ridiculous.
This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on.
That is so beautiful.
No.
I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim when there's nothing to be a victim about. And there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle that
She is doing a cooking show on Netflix. I only watched 5 seconds of it, and I thought she was going to cut her wrist by trying to zest a lemon. This girl has never been in the kitchen in her life.
She's trying to sell herself as this wholesome mother who's baking cookies and making tea for the rest of the family.
She never stops whining.
So when she's trying to sell these kind of, I'm sorry, but crappy, cheap tats to middle America.
Meghan Markle Googled, is the race car an actual car?
40 minutes into the podcast, this little picture, quite a grainy picture, flashed up, which shows a basket of, homemade preserves.
I find it a little bit cringe to give a gift to a close friend and sign it Her Royal Highness.
Why even in private? She's using that full title, Her Royal Highness, with a card on it, HRH. Duchess of Sussex, Meghan.
I would never refer to myself as Her Royal Highness.
They won't let me call myself Her Royal Highness anymore, but I'm going to put it all over my stationery and on the gifts that I give to my friends.
Bill Maher's recent critique of Meghan Markle's podcast appearance has sparked widespread discussion, with many labeling it as insincere and overly staged. Despite Markle's attempts to portray vulnerability by going makeup-free and unscripted, critics, including Maher, saw it as a calculated move to appear relatable while maintaining her polished royal image.
She's allegedly wearing no makeup. Meanwhile, she's got the perfect blowout. She's completely camera ready. And she also is pretending that she's crying.
These people were so mean to us and poor us, and we don't want all this attention. And then let me write a book about how much we don't.
There isn't a tear in sight. It's an actor's trick.
During promotion for Suits, she was joking with one of the photographers that she can cry on command. Left eye, go. And then you watch a tear fall down her face, and then she starts cackling because she's so proud of herself.
She has this really famous thing where she says one tap left eye and she can make herself cry.
Commentators argued that Markle's narrative of authenticity was contradicted by her flawless presentation, with skeptics suggesting her tears were more performative than genuine, a sentiment reinforced by past claims that she could cry on command during her acting days. Adding fuel to the fire, Meghan's persistent use of Her Royal Highness on personal gifts, even after losing her royal status, was widely mocked as tone-deaf and self-important. One notable incident involved Markle delivering a gift basket to a friend signed as HRH, Duchess of Sussex, a move viewed as a desperate attempt to cling to her former title.
No one wants that, not the children. And also it sets this really unrealistic expectation, which Meghan is so good at doing for other parents.
If I don't have meetings in the morning, then I try to do school drop-off. They're at 2 different schools.
Can you imagine being Archie or Lilibet and opening this inbox of 6,000 emails when you turn 18?
So from 6:30 in the morning on drop-off mornings for me, I'm not home till 9.
Critics saw this as emblematic of Markle's struggle to maintain royal prestige despite stepping back from official duties. Furthermore, her Spotify and Netflix projects were criticized as commercial failures, with observers pointing out that her lifestyle brand, featuring items like yoga mats and pet bowls, seemed like a last-ditch effort to stay relevant.
You haven't seen any of the questions ahead of time, and we're in our sweats, and you look the exact same with no makeup as makeup, and we're
that's very generous.
Many online users lambasted her for promoting products that sold out quickly, suspecting it was a deliberate strategy to manufacture scarcity and inflate demand. Her podcast itself was condemned as a self-congratulatory platform, with host Jamie Kern Lima accused of excessive flattery, turning the episode into what many described as an infomercial, rather than a genuine interview. Markle's attempts to paint her life as demanding and filled with hardship also drew backlash, with critics finding her portrayal unconvincing given her privileged lifestyle. Markle described her daily routine, which included school drop-offs and brand management, as grueling. Yet many found her complaints disconnected from reality, especially considering her wealth and access to household help. Her participation in the Time 100 Summit further sparked criticism, with detractors questioning how she secured her spot, insinuating that her inclusion was more about influence peddling than genuine merit. Commentators branded her speech as empty and pretentious, mocking her for attempting to appear profound with what they saw as hollow platitudes. One anecdote about sprinkling dried flower petals on food was especially ridiculed, with many taking it as evidence of her performative simplicity and lack of authenticity. Meanwhile, Prince Harry's recent BBC interview was similarly criticized, with many accusing him of leveraging his father King Charles's illness to garner sympathy. Harry's remarks, which framed the royal family's handling of his security concerns as a disregard for his family's safety, were seen as manipulative and self-serving, further deepening the rift with the monarchy. Critics claimed his comments were disrespectful and painted him as entitled, especially given the couple's lavish lifestyle in the United States. Meghan's ongoing attempts to sell herself as a relatable mother and lifestyle guru were similarly dismissed as inauthentic, with her Netflix cooking show and claims of writing nightly emails to her children viewed as contrived. Markle's portrayal of domestic life was seen as a deliberate attempt to resonate with middle America, though many found it unconvincing given her reliance on staff for childcare and household management. The podcast's host, Jamie Kern Lima, did not escape criticism either. Her overt adoration for Markle was labeled as forced and insincere, with many suggesting that Lima acted more as Markle's cheerleader than an unbiased interviewer. Social media reactions were swift, with users pointing out Lima's exaggerated praise as evidence of a staged narrative aimed at reinforcing Markle's brand, rather than revealing any true vulnerability. Markle's branding efforts were further questioned as critics pointed to her floundering business ventures as proof of a crumbling public image. Her Netflix and Spotify deals were labeled as flops, and her lifestyle brand was mocked for being shallow and out of touch. Observers accused Markle of leveraging her royal connections to maintain relevance despite stepping away from her duties. Her attempts to market herself as relatable were largely seen as unconvincing, with many arguing that the carefully curated public appearances were more about image preservation than authenticity. The broader perception of Meghan and Harry continues to shift, as many accuse the couple of exploiting their royal ties for personal gain, while simultaneously criticizing the institution that elevated them. Their public appearances and branding ventures are viewed as desperate attempts to cling to relevance, with Markle's podcast serving as the latest example of what critics call a transparent bid for sympathy. Skeptics argue that the couple's narrative of struggle and victimhood is wearing thin, as their lavish lifestyle contradicts their portrayal of hardship. Observers suggest that Meghan and Harry's continued focus on public sympathy and brand expansion exposes a disconnect from reality, casting doubt on the authenticity of their claims and calling into question the sincerity of their ongoing media campaigns. Some commentators went even further, suggesting that the couple's narrative of victimhood has been strategically weaponized to attract public sympathy and commercial deals, a stark contrast to their insistence on privacy and independence from the royal family. Analysts have noted that despite their public denouncement of royal ties, the Sussexes continue to lean heavily on their former titles and connections to secure lucrative media contracts, signaling a contradiction that many observers find hard to ignore. Critics argue that their repeated appearances in high-profile interviews, documentaries, and podcast episodes seem less about sharing their truth and more about capitalizing on controversy for financial gain, further fueling the perception that the couple is more focused on brand building than genuine advocacy. Meghan's recent podcast, pitched as a vulnerable and authentic look into her life, instead appeared to many as an orchestrated spectacle designed to generate headlines and bolster her brand image, leaving many questioning just how much of what they are selling is real and how much is simply part of an elaborate marketing strategy designed to keep them in the public eye.